morning.
Well, we know the president hasn't been watching television. He tweeted about it.
Yeah, the president says he's not watching television, despite a lot of reports saying that that's exactly what the president's been doing the last couple of days, just essentially fuming and very angry in the West Wing about all of the coverage of this Russia story and the fact that it's still getting as many headlines as it's getting.
It's a story that has gone on since this weekend, and it sounds like it has sucked all the oxygen out of everything else going on in Washington.
Yeah, it certainly has been the biggest headline, and the president did some interviews yesterday where he talked about it, and I would expect that when he has a press conference in just a couple of hours in Paris, that's what he's going to be asked about there, too. But here's the thing. It sucked all the oxygen, but the White House really made no attempt to change the narrative. He didn't have any events. He didn't give any speeches. We didn't see him at all since he came back from Germany on Saturday night. The president has an incredibly unique and powerful ability to change a narrative by tweeting, by giving a speech, by holding an event. But in some ways, he kept the focus on Russia by tweeting about it and not doing anything else to counter-program, if you will.
Yeah, not only that, he leaves the country while we're in the final throes of a health care bill, which is going to be released to the public at some point today. So you have to wonder, how engaged is he in this health care debate if he leaves the country?
You know, the White House says he is engaged. They weren't really willing to quantify exactly how much. But yeah, they're going to release something today. But the real nitty-gritty work is really going to be next week. And that's where the tough negotiations and the arm twisting, if we see that, will happen next week. They're certainly not voting on anything in the next 48 hours, no matter how things progress today. So the White House, I think, will say this was scheduled. This was an invitation from the French president, so we're going to go. But next week, we'll be jumping back in.
What about some of these other stories about collusion with the data mining and Jared Kushner, and the story that the Wall Street Journal, where they had back channel conversations, and some of the national security people were shocked at how many times Trump's name came up when sort of listening to Russian conversations. How much traction is that getting?
Certainly getting a lot of attention. I will say that we haven't confirmed that reporting, and the White House has not commented on it, but that also could be something that the president gets asked about today. I think it's also just emblematic of how this story has been progressing. Every day, there's just another trickle, another big headline, another story, and the White House has certainly indicated, anonymously to us that there's frustration that they can't really get a handle on the story, but I don't see how they could. I mean, there's just so much reporting happening. There's no way they could get ahead of everything or certainly stop any of this from coming out.
All right, we'll wait and see. Karen Travers, thanks for checking in. ABC News correspondent in Washington, D.C. Karen, thanks.